What it do? Snackers, snackettes, and snack X's. Your boy Gage is here in the building with the homie Jokes.
Yo, yo.
You are now tuned into Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about the things that are happening in pop culture. And
Today.
Jokes, today we got to talk about Gamescom Opening Night
hmm
Live, which happened just a few hours ago. So super fresh. Don't judge us too hard on our opinions. You know what I mean? It is what it is. We got to talk about these GTA 6 leaks. It's a necessity. We're going to talk about Kratos' recasting. We're also going to talk about this newly announced, like, $6 million Euro Dragon Ball theme park. You know what I mean? But we'll get to that. Before we do,
hmm
Jokes has a job to do.
Yes, sir.
Jokes put up the website. If you're currently with us live and in the chat, I want to take a moment to remind all of you who listen or watch later that we do this show live when we do it, and that you could join us at 8:30
hmm
on a Tuesday night and hang out and throw things in the comments and so forth. But for those who can't, we appreciate the fact that you can listen to us later. Jokes is putting up the link to our website for those who are currently live and in the chat, where you can go. Kay is keeping that updated for us because we have a lot of things that are coming down the pipeline. You can go there, check it out, see where we're going to be. Make sure you're following us across all of our socials, which of course includes following us on Patreon, which is one of the best ways you can support us. And now it is time for the 619 Patreon Hall of Fame.
Yes, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
You know what, Jokes?
What up?
We have a standard outline for how the show runs.
hmm
We're going off the rails
Off the rails already?
right now, bro. I need to take a minute to file a complaint.
Woo! I need to talk to the manager?
Yes. Let me put on my Karen shoes, my flip flop, or whatever for the moment. I'm
Let
gonna
me do that.
share with you.
Got a couple people in the building. What up, Marcus?
Marcus, what's good, broski? Hey,
Candace in
Kyle.
the building.
How are you?
And Cuddy.
What up, Cut?
Man says, sup, fellas? Is that a Spidey pin or something on your hoodie string?
It is a 3D printed, like it's specifically for like the strings on like your hood. Spider-Man can hang upside down. Printed to me by my good friend Kurt on a 3D
Clean.
printer. I have like four of them, several different sizes. I have them. I have like four of them. Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Today, Microsoft Xbox announced the design for Xbox 25th anniversary collection. Now, there was a brief moment where this was going to be news for today,
Mm-hmm.
as was the announcement of the new OLED version of their handheld. I can't right now.
Mm-hmm.
$1,300. I can't right now. But Jokes. Here's the thing. You already know how I feel about.
Oh, that controller.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all
Oh,
right,
that
and
controller.
bro, I don't. I'm not
That a
a
book bag too? That a
PC
book
gamer.
bag?
There is a bag. Yeah, there's a bag, bro.
Is it for the
It's a
Xbox or
it's a sling bag. Nah, it's like I think it's really for the accessories. Like I think it's for being able
oh,
to
you know
tote the
you're talking my
accessories around
language
for
here.
whatever reason. The I don't need a keyboard, bro.
Hey, listen, I'll take that keyboard. I got a new setup coming along I want to do, so that may be a good little
Yeah,
addition.
yeah, yeah. Listen, the the mouse I don't need. I want it. It's a Razer Basilisk V3. Very nice. I really want to talk about this. This keyboard, bro. I don't need a keyboard, jokes. I don't need a keyboard. However, let me tell you why I need this keyboard. I'm filing this in the complaint space. Like, this is just part of the story that's leading into the complaint. I'm not really complaining
Hmm.
about this. It's the arrow keys, jokes. It's the arrow keys being the colors of the buttons on
Buttons.
the controller. I need this keyboard. I don't need this keyboard, but I need this keyboard. I definitely don't need these, but like they're nice. They're nice. And like it would be nice, I guess, to have everything in one aesthetic because I'm definitely
Hmm.
planning to get the console because I have to. Now, I want to go. Let me go back for a second. You see this picture? You see this?
Hmm.
Okay. I see the backbones in the different colors, which, whatever. I see the green one. Again, I think that's dope. As we go through this list, what's missing?
The controller.
Bro,
The controller.
bro, it's right there, dog. It's right there.
Oh,
Why?
it only comes with the console. Is that what they're? Is
I'm
that what it
so
is?
concerned that it only comes with the
Oh,
console, bro. Which is going like, why are you selling the charging dock separately?
that you might as well
Like,
throw it in the
can't.
box if it's. I guess because it's 8-bit though. Like I guess that's why,
So
and it's
what?
not.
So what? You know what I mean? Like, figure it out. You're a $1 billion company. Work out the logistics. Put this charging dock in the box with the console and the controller, dog. Put it in there for me. This sling bag,
Oh, that sling bag coming home. I'm getting that.
jokes. Why?
I like
Why?
I like sling bags. Like I have my awesome con one all the time, but I need a backup one. And with
It
us trimming
doesn't.
like and listen, with us like making like the cameras are getting smaller and everything, I could actually fit my camera and stuff right in there. Like
I'm
I
not
can
gonna
I
hold
can
you,
make good
jokes.
use of
This
it.
looks like a lounge fly bag. Now, I don't. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's plain, bro. So why?
Hmm.
Like, you could just get a black sling bag. Like, I just don't see why.
It's got
What the real
25th logo
purpose of
on.
this is. The logo.
I guess it's for the accessory, like you said. But
I
other than
mean, there are green tassels.
mhm.
There are green tassels, but I don't know, bro. Let me. Okay, it says the versatile cross body bag has 4 compartments to organize your device, headset, controller, phone, and accessories.
Mhm.
Padded main compartment with movable insert and thumbstick protectors to help keep your device secure. While the breathable mesh back panel and wide adjustable strap provide comfortable carry on either shoulder. Cable pass through and elastic mesh pockets keep charging essentials nearby. It's available for pre order right now. You can pre order it. Jokes. I don't know, dog. I'll be you know what? Let me see how much it is. 40
$39
40
bucks.
40
Yeah, 40
bucks.
bucks.
That's not terrible. That's not terrible.
Oh, and
However,
it's actually a decent size. Looking at it like on like the person's back, it's actually a decent size too.
you know what, jokes? Hold on.
Hey, you know what? It's got the spot specifically in there that the controller can fit nicely in there. I
You're not
kind of
even
like
talking
that.
about using it for your controllers. Also, you don't play games. Well, you don't play games with other people. So I made that up. Let me not do that. But jokes. I see. Come on, bro. You're teasing me with this controller, dog.
That would, that really would suck though. Like, because typically when they've done like the special like I don't want to say anniversary, but they've done a couple of like limited edition run type of controllers,
I
and
have
they
the
were
anniversary controllers, and I usually get the yeah. I'm
was the
using
last
one
one
right
was it a
now.
20th was that the 20th anniversary? I'm
The
guessing I
20th
don't
the 20th
remember.
anniversary. The
Yeah,
20th anniversary was like a clear black,
clear one. I have that one too.
right? But
That would
also I
suck if
have
they.
this is a special edition one
Hmm.
that only came with the VR headset.
Okay,
But I mean, I'm just bro. Listen, I'm just saying. Give me the what is the cost of this thing? I'm gonna be real mad, bro. I'm gonna be real mad if for some reason they sell out and I can't get my hands on it. We don't need to see any more of this. I'm gonna be real mad. Like, find somebody, man.
hey Cuddy, having the green as a see
Cuddy
through as an
said,
elite
"Give me that
option.
green see through as an elite option." I think it's happening. I actually think that tomorrow during Xbox's Gamescom showcase, we
Hmm.
might actually
Finally,
see the elite. There was a leak like a week and a half ago that seems very, very real about the Elite 3, and they just put the elites, actually all the controllers, but the ones where you can create your own design
hmm
controllers are all on sale right now. I think it's like 15% off. So that makes me feel like they're getting ready to do something. I have
to
a
do
feeling
it.
we might see that tomorrow.
I hope so. Because
Anyway,
when they announced the like the Gears controllers, I was surprised there wasn't an Elite Gears controller amongst them, and maybe if that's because they're going to wait for the announcement to come.
wouldn't
But
you? Wouldn't you? I mean, but I also think the issue with that is that Gears will be out before they'll be able to get Elite 3s. I don't think the Elite
fair.
3 is going to be available until like Christmas at the
Hmm.
earliest. I don't, I seriously doubt that they're going to announce it tomorrow and be like, you can order it. Well, you might be able to pre order it, but like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Um, they could, but I just doubt it. Um, Even if you could, I doubt that they could get it to you before Gears is available. And that's the kind of thing that
Hmm.
I feel like is what they want to avoid, is why they didn't do it
Yeah.
that way. But, I digress. Listen, file that joint in the complaint box for me. We got to move on. It's time for what had happened was hashtag WHHW, which of course is last week's news, which of course is over there somewhere. Hook me up.
Number one.
It wouldn't be a No Tie Tuesday on the same day of opening night live if we didn't discuss it. Jokes, you had a chance to check it out, right?
Yes, sir.
For those who are uninitiated, opening night live is the not game awards broadcast that Jeff Keighley does at the beginning of Gamescom every year, which he's been doing for I want to say like 4 or 5 years now, something like
Sounds
that.
about right.
Um, I don't generally have super high expectations for this show. I just know that a lot of announcements generally come out of it. But what they're gonna be and whether or not we're gonna get some surprises or whatever, it tends to be like medium to high,
Yeah.
not like relatively
Groundbreaking,
guaranteed like
like
we get.
internet
Not like we get
shattering.
at the Game Awards. Yeah. So while Gamescom, which is a lot like what we used to have as E3, but
Hmm.
truthfully, it is the combination, I'd say, of like PAX, a PAX East, a PAX West, and E3 put together because it really is designed with
Fair.
the consumer in mind more than it is what E3 was, which came out of CES, which is a buyer's convention. It was
Hmm.
really designed for press and for buyers from different companies to be able to come in, see what new products were coming out so they could place orders for them to have the new hot thing for the fall, or whatever. Um, Gamescom is a different kind of celebration of games and gaming and playing games and people getting to try things out, and things tend to be more playable when they show you stuff at Gamescom. So most of the stuff that got talked about today is stuff we've
Hmm.
already heard about we've already seen trailers for. We may have gotten new
There
trailers.
was a couple little ones sprinkled in, but nothing that was, super crazy.
There were some world premieres.
Hmm.
Um, I'm gonna say while there were some standouts, I really liked the trailer for Warlock Dungeons and
Same
Dragons.
here.
I liked the trailer for 1001 Threads of Mazan, although we didn't see gameplay. It's just a
Right.
trailer. But I like what
The
feels like the
concept, what it
idea
what it feels
concept.
like. Yeah.
Also, I found that interesting because it is NBC's
Hmm.
games division, which is their first game and is a brand new thing. And so that's really interesting to see what they do with that. Having NBC Universal behind it. There was one called Elta Defy All Gods, which looked interesting. Notice Fall,
Hmm.
which is made by the same folks who do a lot of the gotcha games.
Yeah, Hoyoverse. I saw when that first popped up,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. This is completely,
Hoyoverse had
completely
like
different.
3 or 4
Three.
trailers in this entire thing. Like they're coming for your cash, bro. But I heard I haven't had a chance to really look into it. Again,
Hmm.
this was only a couple of hours ago, but I heard that that game in particular is apparently not a gotcha game. We'll we'll
Yeah, it
see.
doesn't look. Yeah, at least what they showed, it doesn't seem like it.
There was obviously there was a new trailer for Final Fantasy Revelation, so the third and final installment of the Final Fantasy remake,
Hmm.
which looks good. But again, it's not a thing we didn't know was coming. We kind of got a date. I mean, they really just basically said next year,
Yeah.
but did confirm all platforms at the same time, which is a first for the series. So that's cool. In the world premiere category, there was Rainbow Six Tactics, which Cuddy and I had a brief conversation over text
Hmm.
earlier today about this. It looks interesting. I I'm not sure where I am anymore with tactics games. If
Hmm.
they if I if I can get past generally like the opening tutorial and maybe the first couple missions, like I might find myself dedicated and really get into it. Like I do like tactics games. I've played many of them going back to like Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre and stuff like that. So I like those kinds of games. Um, but I never really managed to get into like XCOM, which this
Hmm.
seems more like Gears Tactics. I tried and couldn't really get into. Um, however, what I was saying to Cuddy, and Cuddy was comparing it to Gears as well.
Hmm.
Um, I was saying that I think what has me mostly intrigued about this is while many tactics games do have like special abilities for certain character types,
Hmm.
because this is bringing in the actual operators from Rainbow Six
Hmm.
Siege, they all have very different
Yeah.
abilities. You know what I mean? The abilities to go invisible or see certain things on the field or, just whatever. And it was kind of cool that, like, in the trailer, you have the overhead, like, tactician part of,
Hmm.
like, moving your people around and kind of seeing what's there, but then you kind of can come down to, like, their view to see through. And you still have, again, what is a thing that's very different? What is it's a consistent and important part of what Rainbow Six is, which is the destructibility of like the walls and the environment and stuff like that. That's also a thing you don't generally get in like any other tactics game where there might be a wall in front of you, but if you have the right character, you could, what I mean, can get through that. I don't know. It just was very interesting. So chances are I'm going to end up at least
Hmm.
getting it and trying it because I
Yeah.
feel like it'll be worth, seeing how they apply that. There was another one I find really interesting. We're going to take a look at some of these trailers in the Put a Pin in It podcast after this, but one that stood out to me was the Showa American Story,
Hmm.
and another one called like Loose Song. Both like just new. interesting, different. Show American Story had some wild stuff going on. Um, yeah, was there anything that you saw that stood out to you that you were like, I need that, or I might want to
kind of
try
thing.
that, or whatever?
One is actually like I typically don't play like the building sim games, but Lego Skylines,
Skylines, yeah,
like just the switch and putting and making them Legos and being able to build and do things, I feel like just puts a nice little twist on the Skyline setup. Still do the same thing, but obviously it's Legos. They have Lego characters in there. Like they showed an example like where like a building was on fire and they had the Lego characters out there trying to put the fire and stuff out. It looked fun and interesting. So that was one that caught my eye. Um, Obviously a lot of the ones that you said were on my radar. Like I love when we can see things that are new that do look different, that some things that we haven't seen before. But then there are other things that they bring back that we haven't seen in a long time. So stage tours, like obviously we've known about it for some time now, but the fact that now we really got a little bit more of a look at some of the music, the way that the play looks like. If you're a Guitar Hero
Guitar Hero,
fan,
bro. Yeah,
it's the spiritual successor for Guitar Hero. It looks the same. The guitar is the same 5 fret guitar that they used to do before. Guitar Hero tried to go more realistic and make it like real frets that kind of just took the whole thing out from there. Um, just like Warlock was really cool. I did like that. Wizards of the Coast putting that together. Um, and then crazy enough, I haven't finished any of the Witcher games, but we're getting, a Witcher 3 remastered that's going to, enhance the graphics, give us a new DLC that's added on before we finally pass the reins off to Witcher 4 when it comes out. So I thought that was a cool little way to end out the show for it. But
and that game's
like,
like
oh,
12 years old.
it is. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
I was like DLC.
Well, I
But
mean,
a
look.
remaster is
Here's a.
good.
I will say that I don't CD Project Red. They're just a different breed, and
Hmm.
to I would actually love if more companies did this. If they were like, yeah, we're doing a remake, but we're also doing additional DLC or something like
Hmm.
that with it to give you like if you've already played it or played through it, even if you love it, to give you another reason to go back to it other
Hmm.
than, oh, it looks nicer now and it plays faster. You know what I mean? Like they did a lot of like quality of life
Yeah.
balance stuff with like the sword play and just like the mechanics of the game on top of giving it the visual and audio update on top of making it so that if you have the base game, you're getting the additional DLC that's already come out for free, and you're getting the upgrade to the newer version of it for free.
Hmm.
And then the DLC is coming out next year, which again, like if you're going to try to find a way to make sure that you have money coming in to go into the new project you're working on, like to me, that's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it.
So I love that, man. Look, there's a couple other things that I thought were cool that we got to see, like the co-op for Crazy Taxi, the Snoop Dogg mission in Hitman.
Hey,
Um,
listen, the Hitman and these little additions with like the specific celebrities that they like using in here
mhm,
is really clean. And then
mhm.
like that was Snoop Dogg.
It was Snoop
Because
Dogg.
because for a split second I was like, this doesn't look like I forget the
That gang,
Yakuza
that
stuff.
yeah.
I was like, for a second I was like, wait a minute, this is something different. And then once we saw Agent 47, I was like, oh, we going after Snoop Dogg now.
Mhm, mhm, 100%, man. Torok Origins.
Yeah,
I don't
Torok.
know.
I
It
was
just
like,
it was something about it. My biggest issue with Gamescom, which isn't really Opening Night Live's fault,
mm,
is that truthfully, so many of these games look exactly the same. You could take the name of one game and slap it on another game and call it that thing. They all look the same. They all look
mm,
like dragons or somebody with a bow and arrow fighting a large animalistic beast, some sort of a mix between online Monster Hunter
yeah.
slash like
It was a Monster Hunter
they
game, even
they
though it was a mobile
all
game.
bro, all the games look the same. The effects look the same, the characters look the same. the armor and it all looks the same, bro. The colors look the same, like it all looks the same. And that's my biggest issue is that we have hit that point again in games where like everybody's going for the same look. Everything looks like
Hmm.
some version of Elden Ring slash a gotcha game. Like they all look like that, and it's kind of annoying. So I was waiting for something to truly wow me and
Hmm.
look different and look like it was gonna feel different. So many of these games right now look like if you don't buy one but you buy the other, you got the exact same experience, and that just seems so out of place to me. And it didn't really matter whether it was a shooter or a third person action game or
Hmm.
first person action or whatever it was. And so oddly enough, it feels to me like what this show was missing was a lot of indie stuff. The indies are always where the creative super like haven't seen anything
Agreed.
like that before, even when it's like a side-scrolling Metroidvania. They just have a way of making them look different and look like they
Hmm.
feel different and like worth your time. But these kind of like built from the ground up because we were a team that used to work on these games that came
Right.
together to form our own game that's basically just like that game. Like this game, Grav Hounds,
Hmm.
which is like it's made by the
So
people who did Halo and something else, and they even at least they're poking fun at themselves. Like the opening
yeah,
of it is literally them jumping out in like the Master Chief uniform, but then it's the head of a dog
dog.
and their dog. So like at least they're not taking themselves too seriously. And look, it might be fun to play, but it still looks the same as everything else does. It
Yeah,
just so happens that the heads they're dogs instead of
yeah.
being
It was a
people
lot of
or
shooter. It was
robots
a
with
couple of
huge
shooter
armor.
titles that they had showed off, but same thing. They look the same. We're running and gunning,
Yeah,
and like there's
yeah.
no real difference. Like somebody else
There was
was
that
doing
PUBG game,
the PUBG game that was in there, and then
looked like
somebody else
Fragment.
now is trying to do like the Pokemon style thing, like that Pal World did, and
Oh, there
like,
were like three of those in here. Period. And I was like,
and I was like, oh, here we go again. Like,
but here's the thing: we had seen like Animo is one of them. We had seen
yeah,
that before. It's a that's a that's a more blatant ripoff than Power World is for real, bro. Like they're like gyms in an arena fighting the joints, yanking them into a Pokeball. Like that joint is a straight up. There were characters in that joint that I thought I could
feel like they
name as Pokemon. And I don't know Pokemon. So I was like, oh, this is super blatant.
wait for the Nintendo cease and desist to start coming along.
Ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Bro, at this point, like if they didn't get Power World,
Yeah, they ain't gonna get nobody
they
else
not yeah. Yeah, it's a wrap.
unless you
And
directly try to name them an actual Pokemon name, and then it's gonna be like, oh, now you done effed up.
I mean, I guess, you know what I mean? Like I just anyway, yeah, I will say I wasn't going to, but now I'm getting Rayman Legends.
Hey, hey, listen,
That Macarena
Ray,
stage, I'm
that
getting that
Macarena
joint, bro.
stage, you're doing it.
I'm getting that joint, bro. Like, cause again, that's the way you do it. If you're going to redo a classic game, put it
Hmm.
out again, you add additional stuff. You add DLC to it. So like, yeah, oh, you adding MC Hammer can't touch this to a Rayman joint
Hey,
to like the
when she said that, I was like, wait a minute.
I'm with it. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of these joints look interchangeable. I will say
Hmm.
Zoo Punks
Hmm.
still looks incredible, still looks amazing. Just give me the game. You're like, just give me the game. They introduce a new animal, whatever. It's cool. It looks incredible.
Hmm.
So just let me play the joint. Just send it my way. Um, I will say I was glad to see that Path of Exile is they gave the date for the full on release.
For the full version. No, when they said that, I was like, wait, this joint is still not in 1.0 yet.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
geez.
Playing early. So yeah, we're that's it. check it out, bro. It's going on the extra life
On
list.
his life.
As is probably this Aliens Fireteam Elite 2 that came out today. So I'm just letting you know that list is growing. It's growing fast. Um, you know what, jokes? I think
Hmm.
that's enough about Gamescom. Let's
Cool.
move on. Hook me up.
Number two.
Grand Theft Auto 6. In 2 days' time,
Hmm.
we will have, I guess, a new trailer. We don't really know exactly what it is
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
Rockstar is putting out with Netflix. Um, but the leaks, my man, are out of control. So we haven't really talked about this on the show, but there is a person or an organization called
Hmm.
CyberLeak that has been that claims to have hacked Rockstar, has been leaking footage of Grand Theft Auto 6.
Hmm.
Um and there's a couple of things with this. Over the last 2 days, it's gotten real interesting. Like the stuff they have leaked over the last couple of days has been very explicit. Like GTA explicit.
Times 10.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're here to push boundaries kind of explicit. And you know, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. The reality of it is I'm trying to avoid it all because I don't
Same.
want to be spoiled. I'd rather just see it as it comes out. The person who I am that needs to do a show like this is
Hmm.
very interested in like, let me go find these joints and see what they are and whatever. But
Yeah.
I held off, right? Just kind of polling through the articles and grabbing whatever information I can. And so here's the crux of where we are with this right now. A lot of the leaks have come with a statement, which
Hmm.
basically is no physical games, then you're getting more leaks, right? So they are trying to force Rockstar to create a physical version of Grand Theft Auto 6, which, again, if you're not caught up, the physical game versus digital game thing is heating way up
Hmm.
right now, truthfully spurred on by Sony's announcement that come January of 2028, they will no longer make physical games at all. Everything will be digital. So there's litigation in place, Save Our Games, which is about ownership, that fact that you're actually licensing, you don't actually have ownership of the games, their ability to take that stuff away from you when you make a purchase or when you buy it.
Hmm.
Um, you don't technically have ownership of the stuff you think you own and what you can do with your license or whatever. All of that is currently being litigated.
Hmm.
It doesn't look like it's going great for Sony right now, which will most definitely have implications for everything else because
Yeah.
it's media in general, truthfully.
Yeah.
But video games is the thing that is, I think, the cost of individual games versus what you pay for a movie if if you buy it digitally or whatever. I think is part of what the issue
Hmm.
is. Um, so Rockstar, right before Sony made that announcement, announced that there would be no physical copies of
Physical.
Grand Theft Auto. And so part of what is happening with this cyber leak thing is that they are dropping these leaks and then saying they're
Hey,
actually
listen,
asking
yo.
people to show up protesting,
And
holding
do try
physical
to get.
discs in front of Rockstar's offices,
Give us
which
physical game. Give us the physical Grand Theft Auto game. And no,
probably a
listen.
really
Even
bad idea.
listen. Even if they caved in and made some physical version of the disc, that joint probably going to have like all of like a gigabyte of the game even on the physical disc anyway
Well, it's
to
like you
even
got to
do it.
remember that like they don't make look, if they did a physical copy of Grand Theft Auto, it would probably have to be like 3 or 4 discs.
That's disgusting.
Like they don't have a medium. I mean, it's not like we didn't do it before. You know what I mean? We were doing multiple discs on PlayStation 1. So, like
Yeah,
it's not like they haven't done it before, but that would be what they would have to do in order for you to actually physically have that whole game on
yeah.
disc. Like you're not getting more than 50 gigs on a disc. So, look, even if they came up with a different medium, but I just think if you do that, the medium,
Blu-ray Ultra.
I mean, even that doesn't. No, I mean, they would essentially have to sell you like a cartridge. It would have to be like a USB stick. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That has a hard drive in it. You know what I mean? Or a flash drive in it that's large enough to hold it, which means it will be so much more expensive to buy
Hmm.
because you'd have to pay for that physical
Jesus,
media
for a
that you wanted to be on.
200
Yeah.
gigabyte storage at the minimum, and knowing how this game is right now, 200 gigs is probably just talking about maybe the base game.
Yeah. I mean, it's just nonetheless, there's also cryptocurrency like
Hmm.
that's tagged to some of the leaks and with QR codes or whatever. Again, 3 o'clock Thursday,
Hmm.
we're supposed to
Cuddy
get the
jumping in.
Netflix drop. Cuddy says, I'm kind of surprised the amount of backlash when for years people rarely buy physical music anymore besides DJs. Um, you know, I think Cuddy that a lot of it is it's a technology issue. It's it seems so cool that you don't have to go to the store to get the thing and bring it back and put it in there. It
Hmm.
seems so cool that you no longer have to take up your shelf space. So in the early days when you could do things digitally, when like it was kind of amazing on the 360 when you could just download the stuff that you wanted
Yeah.
to play and you didn't have to get up and go to the store and you didn't have to worry about going to a midnight release or waiting in line or being concerned that they weren't going to have enough copies or any of that kind of stuff, right? And so that all seems really cool. And then eventually it wears off when you realize you don't have ownership, that you
Hmm.
don't own it. And people didn't start, there were always people who were concerned about it, but the majority of the public didn't start freaking out about it until they started losing their access.
Hmm.
And so a lot of the reason why Sony is under such scrutiny right now is because they have done it so many times. So you have to remember that their announcement that they were going away from physical discs for games is right after they removed all of these people's movies that they bought because they lost the licenses for it. Keep in mind that Sony also bought Funimation and bought Crunchyroll,
Hmm.
removed Funimation, and anything that people had downloaded from Funimation in their libraries that they had for years, they took it all away. They got rid of all of it. They own it, meaning they have the licenses because they own it,
Hmm.
but they took it away from people. Then they take that, Funimation goes away, they dump it all in a Crunchyroll, and now they force you to pay a subscription for stuff that you had already purchased from them
On there.
because technically you didn't own the license. So people who have been for years excited about collecting and having all this stuff and it all being available to them and they can log in wherever and see it all, whatever, it was cool because the technology was cool, but they didn't realize technically what they were losing.
Hmm.
And a lot of the litigation is about how even though that stuff is technically tucked into the EULA, it's
Yeah.
in that end user license agreement. Nobody reads it. And the wording they use of buy or purchase or whatever doesn't tell you that you're technically just renting it, right?
And it's
And
always
so
in
like
quotation marks. So they get you, as John says, buy
right.
or purchase.
In 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 recent litigations, they've been forced to change that in other countries.
Hmm.
Um so there's a lot of that kind of stuff that's going on and so Sony is under heavy scrutiny because they have literally taken people's entire libraries away from them. And
Yeah.
now people are also concerned about the monopoly that they have in terms of what they control in music, in movies, in video games, and them literally having, especially for the stuff that is supposed to be exclusive, the only store where you can buy it, technically, right?
Hmm.
Because you have to go through them to get it because it's all digital. Now that doesn't mean that you couldn't go on Amazon, buy a digital card or whatever, or possibly buy a code from them that allows
Hmm.
them to do it. But Sony still makes so much money in it and can control the pricing and can push the pricing up as high as
Yeah.
they want. They don't have to give access to other stuff like that, right? There's a lot of it. And there are people even currently speculating that this is going to put Sony in a position where they're going to be forced to play the game that Microsoft is just now trying to get out of being forced to put their stuff in other people's stores and not
Hmm.
having a choice in order to prevent them from having a monopoly. There will be no such thing as exclusive on PlayStation. They won't be allowed to do that because they don't want to allow them to have control over the pricing of all of these things in this one place. It's a whole
Hmm.
thing. Again, it's happening
Yeah.
with music, but music has been received like
Definitely.
people are buying
Cuddy
records. You know
jumping
what I
back
mean? They
in.
have record players and CDs are actually picking up in sales and that kind of thing, which
Hmm.
is mostly coming out of people being upset that their favorite artists aren't getting paid the way they want them to get paid.
Yeah.
Cuddy says, but Rockstar has been pretty good to us. They aren't like other studios that randomly will shut a server down for good. That's only because Rockstar is making incredible money out of the games that they have. But if that
GTA
was to
Online.
change for whatever reason, right? Like there really is no there there isn't a precedent that you can say is set already for whether or not they'll just go Grand Theft Auto 6 is a new thing. We're going to Grand Theft Auto 6 online. So everything you did and everything you bought in Grand Theft Auto 5, we're not doing it anymore. It's gone.
Hmm.
You want to keep playing online and you want to keep staying in this world, you got to
You
migrate
gotta
to Grand
start
Theft
over
Auto
again.
6.
Hmm.
It's not going to be available on your old consoles. You got to buy a new console and you got like there isn't they have allowed people to continue to play for a long time. There are people who are still
Hmm.
playing Grand Theft Auto 6 on 360, on
Ooh.
PS3, right? On PS4, on Xbox One. But the majority of the new content, the new DLC that we've all enjoyed playing together isn't available there. There
Hmm.
are a lot of things that aren't available there. And people are already complaining that if you don't have the deluxe or special edition version of Grand Theft Auto 6, you're going to be locked out of certain stores and things that you
Dang.
can't buy and whatever. People are already complaining about that. So you got to remember that for most people, corporations are corporations. And you might have your favorites, but at the end of the day,
Business
generally
is
speaking, they
business.
don't usually have your best interest in mind. It's a
I was
capitalist
like that.
society, and that's what it comes down to.
Speaking of,
Um,
Marcus was like, I buy more vinyl than CDs anyway.
I mean, listen, I believe it. Look, vinyl, you're taking up about the same amount of space in the reality of things
Hmm.
because it's so much taller. But you could buy 45s and just get singles, I suppose. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, I haven't purchased a CD.
Hmm.
I don't know, bro.
I don't
It's
know.
probably maybe 2005. The
Probably
last time
about
I
right.
bought an actual CD
Maybe a
to
little bit
get
after
someone's
that.
music.
I don't
Look,
know. Me,
bro,
maybe
I'm not gonna
2009.
hold you. MP3s changed the game for me. I went Zoom. Now at the time, you could in Apple Music or in Zoom, you could have a subscription. You could go
Hmm.
in. Not only could you buy the songs digitally, but you were able to download them and burn them to a disc.
The
So you
disc, yeah.
had ownership over those and they couldn't take it from you. So it was a different landscape. So when I stopped buying CDs, I was still
Hmm.
burning
Burn them.
CDs, but I was mostly like putting mixes together, the stuff I really like the most, which is what I did with cassette tapes anyway. Um, and they had a plan, like there was a Zune Pass, just like you have
Hmm.
Game Pass, where you paid a monthly fee, you had access to listen to all the music you wanted to, you could stream it, but you could download 10 songs a month. And it cost like
Hmm.
it was like $10 a month or something like that.
Probably
And you
about
could
so.
download 10 songs a month. Songs were 99 cents. You know what I mean? But now not only could you download 10 songs, which a lot of times didn't cover, like you couldn't
Right.
download and burn an entire CD or somebody's entire album, right? But you could get it next month and you still
Hmm.
had access to listen to it all. So the landscape was very different. And then, with DRM and all the other kind of stuff, and they started taking that kind of stuff away, and then Spotify comes in, and Pandora came in, and
Mm-hmm.
that was like it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it went away, and so it disappeared from the landscape. And you also got to remember there are so many people who have never, like adults, who've never bought CDs, who never purchased music, who
It's been
never
streaming.
bought
It's been streaming
DVDs.
services.
Didn't have Netflix has existed for their entire existence.
Mm.
Like that's it's what they know. So they don't even really know the difference between ownership of that kind of stuff and not. They aren't used to it. Didn't have it,
Mm-hmm.
and when it's gone, they just be like, "Oh." And then there's so much in the catalog, they just go listen to something else.
Yeah.
So for a lot of us, we stopped complaining about that kind of stuff because we had a very limited amount of things that we could listen to or games that we could play or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
because you only had what you could purchase. Whatever you had money to buy is all you had at your fingertips, and anything else you experienced because your friend bought a game you didn't buy,
Mm-hmm.
and then you tried it and you played it, or you went somewhere and you rented it. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll actually buy it, but you'll just
Mm-hmm.
rent it two or three more times till you beat it, or you know what I mean, or whatever. But we never really had ownership, and that gave us access to everything. And
Mm-hmm.
streaming gives us so much access, we never run out. Half the time, we can't even decide what we're actually going to sit down and watch. So we put on Netflix and we scroll for 40 minutes
Scroll. Yep.
trying to figure out, what do I feel like? You knew what you felt like when you turned it on. Then you saw something else on the screen, you start scrolling.
And change it up. Yep.
You know what I mean? And so when they take something away, half the time people don't even realize it's gone. You don't know, because it doesn't feel like somebody broke into your house and took your stuff, right? But if all your stuff was in one place on your PlayStation and you
Mm-hmm.
logged in one day, and when
And
you
that
logged in,
was
all of it was gone, all of it was gone, you feel like somebody broke in your house and took all your
violated.
stuff, right? And so it's a very different landscape, and I think it's just taking people a long time to realize how different it is and what's
That is.
actually happening with their ability to own things, which is why I think a lot of people like us have so many tchotchkes. Like we just, you know what I mean? We have the toys and the popcorn buckets and the posters and the whatever. Like we have physical stuff. You know what I mean? That just exists. Like we come from a generation that like kept our movie theater tickets, and we kept
Yep.
our concert tickets, and we put them in photo albums, and we kept it. All your kids' photo albums are in their phones, in
Mm-hmm.
somebody else's cloud, where somebody else definitely has access to it, whether you want them to or not. They're like, you sit kids down right now and have them look through a photo book, and it's like you showed them the internet. Like when we looked at the internet. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, man. I don't think that that cyber leak is going to actually force these
I
discs
don't. I don't think
to
so.
happen.
I mean, they may end up leaking the game. We may get GTA 6 before we get GTA 6 at this point.
But here's what I'll tell you, Jokes. If you get that and you play it in your console, when your
Oh no!
console gets
Oh
hit,
no! 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 No!
I don't want to
Absolutely
hear it.
not! I will
Um,
not have my account banned.
I do want to know, Jokes. Do you think Rockstar is actually the ones leaking it? Because it's an
Hey,
incredibly good marketing scheme
dog,
if that's
listen.
the case.
A part of me thought that maybe there's like those few people, like it's a secret team, and they're like, yeah, let's just feed these couple little things out here and there. Like we ain't gonna give them everything, but they're gonna get at least a little bit. Like, hey, listen, that wouldn't surprise me. Or then they ends up twisting it around and be like, they release the game and like it ends up being like a heist or something. Like, hey yo, so all that stuff you've been
That
seeing, and all that
would
stuff you've
be
been seeing,
crazy.
that's actually part of the next heist that's going to be coming out in the new game.
If on Thursday when they drop the Netflix joint, they're like, help us catch CyberLeak in the game, Grand Theft Auto 6 online. This is what you're that would be insane, bro. Insane. Because apparently they subpoenaed Microsoft to get like the records
Microsoft
that
and
you have to
Discord,
sign the
yeah,
like the and Discord. But I haven't, and technically they wouldn't be allowed to talk about it, I guess. But like,
yeah.
I haven't seen a response from any
I
of them.
haven't either.
It could all be fake jokes.
It could be.
I ain't gonna hold you. If it is, I'm in love, bro.
No, or they hit
I,
us with the, hey guys, so we decided to move the release date up for Grand Theft Auto 6.
bro, do you know they can't do that? You know why? Because people have already taken off work for this joint, bro. If they
Hey,
move
brother,
that date up, the call out rates, it's gonna be EMTs missing from work. You didn't just
you saw the
no,
military. You saw the military
yeah, you
jump.
ain't see it. The
They,
military is if people sign up, they giving them 4 days to play Grand Theft
I
Auto.
was like, y'all
That's what
dirty.
the military doing right now. Like Grand Theft Auto is so big that the military is offering 4 free days to play Grand Theft Auto when it comes out if you enlist.
That is disgusting.
That's what we're doing. Unprecedented, bro. Hook me up.
Number 3.
Jokes. I'm gonna just leave
So,
this right here.
oh. Hey.
Dave Bautista has officially been cast to play the live action Kratos in the Amazon God of War TV show. He is replacing Ryan Hurst,
Mm-hmm.
who like tore his bicep or
Mm.
something.
Tricep,
Um,
I think. It's one of them
one of the
steps.
two during filming, and unfortunately, between the surgery and the recovery time, it's just going to take too long, and they ended up having to replace him. Now, they did also end up losing the person who was playing his son
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and having to replace them. But for some reason, I don't feel worried about that at all.
I'm
What do you think,
Oh, I
Jokes?
don't either. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, I like Batista, and I feel like we've had this discussion about like him as an actor and where he and how far he's come. Like, I have faith that he could probably pull this off. Like, I know most people are complaining that like, oh, this ain't the juice Batista anymore. To actually like, I'm not concerned about that. That either yes, he could go out start working out again, or they could just CG all that for whatever, man. I'm just amped to see how well he can bring Kratos to life. And obviously, they got the faith in him because otherwise they would not have given him the opportunity to do this. It's a sad reason on how he's able to step into the role to now do Kratos. That unfortunately it had to be an injury to end up getting the cast for it, but like, it doesn't bother me. It like
Yeah, I mean, like people complaining about him not being as big as he used to be when he was younger. He's still like the same size as the guy that was cast in the role.
bro.
Like I don't, you know, I'm not really concerned about this. I think the other thing that people are kind of concerned about is the fact that people have fan cast Batista in this role for years.
Years.
And fan casting tends to not really ever be about how well the person could act the role out. It tends
Hmm.
to be more about how much the person looks like they'd
Looks.
embody him. A lot of times fan casting is like, I think this person would pull off an incredible cosplay
Yeah.
of this
Whatever character.
character.
Yeah.
It's not usually really about the person's skill as an actor or
Hmm.
actress. So I think because for a long time Batista was fan cast, I think that people are now going, wait a minute. We didn't really we didn't really mean it. Like
What you
we
mean
didn't
you
really
ain't
mean
really
it.
mean it? You've been
Yeah.
yelling at people for years now.
But I also think that most people, and no shade to Ryan Hurst, but I think that
Hmm.
most people comparatively have no idea who Ryan Hurst is. So they
Mm.
didn't have a mental idea of what
What?
it was really going to end up looking like. They were just ready to give him the benefit of the doubt because they didn't know any different. And with Batista, there is plenty of footage of him acting. He has been doing it for quite some time. He's played a very diverse
Hmm.
run of roles, but I do still think it's very difficult for people to look past the wrestling
Hmm.
of Batista. Um, because that's what the majority of people knew him from.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what the majority of people know him from. Now the majority of people know him from Guardians of the Galaxy. There's just way more people
Mm-hmm.
who saw Guardians of the Galaxy based on the strength of the MCU that know him from that. And when they saw him in that, there were people who were like, "Oh, you don't know who that is? That's Bautista. Slim used to be a monster in WWE, and then they find out he was a wrestler, and they're like, all right." And then they
Mm-hmm.
look at the role that he played in Guardians, and they're like, I mean, all right, I guess so, right? Because it doesn't feel like it requires a whole lot, and he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of stupid, or whatever. And so people just decided that that fits
Mm-hmm.
with what else he's done, and they lump him in with like The Rock in terms of what his acting chops might be, and like, all right, well, he could just do some action movies or something like that, and that really, and a little bit of comedy, and that should really be it. But
Mm-hmm.
Batista has a lot of other roles where he's really filling in, doing some dramatic acting
Mm-hmm.
and pulling it off really, really well. But I think that those people also aren't looking at those movies for him, or will see him starring in a movie like that and be like, yeah, nah, I'm not. You know what I mean? It won't give him the benefit of the doubt. So I'm gonna be honest, man. I think this might be the smartest kind of role for him for a couple of reasons. One, it's a TV show, and
Mm-hmm.
it gives more time for character development over the course of multiple episodes for people who are uninitiated with God of War to
Mm-hmm.
become initiated with God of War and his version of the character. Two, the people who do know God of War will be
Mm-hmm.
able to go, okay, he's nailing it or he's not. But also, people who really know God of War will know that it has been recast multiple times,
Right. Mm.
right? That it hasn't always been the same person, and that that's been okay, right? Like we've survived it, okay? But the other thing I think is that over the course of time, depending on how they release the show, I think that people, the word of mouth with him in a starring role in something like this will allow more people to catch the wave and ride the
Mm-hmm.
wave and then be like, oh no, he's really doing this. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we will see an uplift in people going and watching A Knock at the Cabin, other stuff that he's done, and actually giving him an opportunity because they'll actually have time to see over time what he's capable of doing. And there really isn't space in this role for the comedy that is what you would find in Guardians, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. So I think it allows him to kind of set himself apart. And I think it could be really, really good for him. My question for you is,
Mm-hmm.
will there be a Bautista bomb in this show?
Ooh. I feel like they probably will do something like that at this point. Like I think they would. It would. Maybe it'll be a spear. I think they
Mm,
may that I think I see more of than the Batista bomb because that's just
okay.
straight Kratos just running after someone and just literally like I think the spear would probably be the one that they would
Okay.
use, but I could see that.
Okay. I'll take it. I'm not gonna spoil it for people and tell them when I think it's gonna happen because that's spoilers. But probably so. Jokes. I think that does it for what had happened was. I feel like we can comfortably wrap that up. How you
Think
feel?
so. Think so.
Okay. Well, look, then that's it for last week's news. It's time to move on to something new. And here's what I need to know from you, Jokes.
Uh.
So earlier this week, there was an announcement that there is a €6 million Dragon Ball theme park being built in Paris,
Mm-hmm.
France. Now, Jokes. Couple of things. One, this is being done in partnership with France and Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Some people aren't real happy about that, but that's what's happening. Two, Though they made the announcement, Jokes,
Hmm.
they have not secured the Dragon Ball license for this theme park.
That's the part that I was wondering because I'm like, how is Japan not involved in this in some shape or form with like a Dragon Ball, one of the most iconic and known animes that there is to do it. So first of all, when I heard this, it was like, this just sounds wrong because it's not in Japan. Like this seems like something if you take, one of your well-built properties like that, Japan would be the ones to be putting this in place. So it's
Sure,
weird. It's weird.
sure, but like
But
if they announced they were doing a Dragon Ball theme park here, like I
I
don't
feel
feel
like
like I just think the sheer number of fans of Dragon Ball, it might not seem weird. Like I've never listened to Dragon Ball in French, but I'm sure it's like it's worldwide,
mhm,
right? I mean, it's not. Here's the other thing: there is already a Dragon Ball theme park in the process of being built in Saudi Arabia. That's already a thing.
mhm.
Okay, so I don't know if they just were like, nah. I mean, we already got a license. You know what I'm saying? In Saudi Arabia, so kind of like, what are they gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, are they gonna come to France and like, what are they gonna do? Maybe that's where they are. And to be honest with you, Jokes, I kind of don't care. Here's what I actually want to know: what franchise deserves and do you think could actually pull off having a theme park all to themselves, regardless of
Ooh.
where you have to build it?
I mean, I feel like you could take they have a many, but like I feel like a Star Wars. I feel like Star Wars probably is one of those properties that could probably pull something like that
They have
off.
their own section in
That's
Disney
what I was saying.
twice
They have a
over.
section, but I feel like they have a property that could probably stand on its own. Like, I mean, obviously, it's hard to not pick anything from like the Disney Marvel side of things. Like, I feel like they have like those type of properties. If we come outside of that, I'm trying to think of something like I don't know if.
What does a Dragon Ball theme park really consist of? Like, what are we really talking about? Like, what is it like? When you say Star Wars,
Mm-hmm,
immediately I think of the kinds of rides that they have for Star Wars, and I'm like, those make sense. Like,
mm-hmm,
they make sense. Doing a trench run or being in the Millennium Falcon or being like, there's any number of stories that exist just in the Star Wars zeitgeist alone, even if
mm-hmm.
they're technically not canon anymore. There are so many stories in that universe that you could just have a ride where you're a rebel pilot and you're going on it. You know what I mean? Like you just like it could be any number of things, right?
And
Um,
the Harry Potter kind of has
and it's
that.
Harry
Like,
Potter. I mean, yes. Again, the Harry Potter rides and the sections for Harry Potter, incredible. A full theme park. What does a full theme park really mean, Jokes? Like, what are we talking?
all
Like,
right, so
how big?
obviously,
Like,
oof.
if you're thinking like Six Flags America, as it was in the DMV, it's not that big of a park. I'm just
Mm-hmm,
saying, it's not that big of a park. But let's go like, for all intents and purposes in this area, let's say King's Dominion size,
kind of.
right? Which also had a bunch of different stuff broken up, Smurfs and stuff like that. I think Harry Potter is a good,
Mm-hmm.
although like there are some issues with the owner of Harry Potter and how they feel and whether or not people might want to visit that or not. But could you build an entire theme park around it and make it look like all of the different places that exist in the wizarding world? Because it wouldn't be like a Harry Potter theme park. It would be a wizarding world
World valid.
theme park, right? Because they do have this world with all these different places
Dog.
that people.
If they could build like an actual like one for one Diagon Alley, like I know it kind of exists in the Harry Potter world that they have, but if you were able to literally walk down and walk into the majority of those stores that Harry and them have to go into, here's your
I'll
wand
be
store,
honest,
you got to
it's
go
kind of
in,
like that, bro. Like it kind
like
of is like that. already.
That could be, yeah, like that would be super cool. Like Marcus just threw up like racing on Snake Way could be. I mean, that would be a cool thing. Like if you're in, I guess like a bumper car type of thing to be able to race around.
I
Like,
mean, you do it like they got like the cars like Speedway ride at
hmm
Disney. Like it could be something like that. You have when you think about all the way that world is built out, like you have Quidditch matches. You could do a full stunt show. You have
yeah,
all the individual, like just building out Hogwarts Castle. Technically, like you could,
that's already a win right there. If you could build the whole castle and
and
just,
just the four different like houses
mhm.
is a lot. You could probably really pull that off. I'm kind of like I'm in that space because I think about some of the franchises that I know you really like, some of the ones
hmm
that I really like. I don't know if we could pull off a Gundam theme
I
park.
like.
I don't know
I
that we
feel
could
like,
pull off a Power Rangers.
yeah, like to me that would be like a. We're gonna take these like five properties that are like they're known worldwide, and we kind of bring them all together, and maybe kind of like how a Disneyland would type of thing, or it would be like a, or maybe like a seasonal type of thing. Like maybe, hey, during the summer, we have, hey, here's this Gundam theme park that you can go to, but it's only here for like the summer. I feel like something like that would probably work than like a year round type of thing. Don't get me wrong, Gundam has grown in popularity outside of Japan a lot, but I
Yeah.
don't know if it's necessarily sustainable in a full on theme
I mean,
park.
again, when
And
you
don't get me wrong.
consider the kinds of rides you could have that are Gundam themed, you could get away with some really cool stuff. Like you could easily have some Gundam themed roller coasters and some
Mhm.
Gundam themed like sitting in it with a screen in front of you kind of rides and like there's definitely stuff you
Uh,
could do, but I don't think the world is a place people actually want to be. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not sure. Margaret
Marcus
said for
like for
Gundam, if I'm
Gundam.
not piloting a mech, it ain't a real park. I mean,
Let's be
what do
real.
you
That
what
was
do you need to be able to do at a Dragon Ball park, Marcus? Let me let me ask you that because again, you can
obviously for
clearly have a roller coaster that is the dragon from Dragon Ball. Like I don't.
right. That one makes sense. You would have to have like the like a few like. There's not that many worlds that they've gone to. Obviously, you have majority's on Earth. You could have Planet Namek type stuff. You could have
Hey, bro, it all looks the same.
like
I'm just gonna tell
yeah.
you right now that a Dragon Ball theme park is also like a Dragon Quest theme park, and it's like anything that that man drew or designed, it all looks exactly the same. The worlds look the same. The beaches, the rocks, the towns, the house, like it all looks the
hmm
same. Like you can intermix any of that kind of stuff together and not know that you just left the Dragon Ball area and are now in the
Yeah.
Dragon Quest area and or are now like Toriyama. For as much as I can appreciate the work that he did, a lot of it was
hmm
Dragon themed. So there's Dragon Ball, there's Dragon Quest, there's Blue Dragon. Like it's
hmm
just a lot
They
of that.
all look. It's the same art style. Like you could tell it's his work.
I mean, I don't. But Dragon Ball also has the kind of following that's just cult enough that people will buy anything
Mhm.
Dragon Ball. They will buy Dragon Ball chocolates. They will buy Dragon Ball books and stamps but like it is insanely marketable in terms of
Mhm.
merchandising and what you can put on things so you could easily have restaurants that have food that looks like whatever. There could be a I don't know, a capsule corp ride. We're in the joint, you go back in time to where Trunks was, or you get like there's a lot of stuff they can do. I just don't know if I feel like
I don't know if it. Don't get me right. It seems to
I'm
me
gonna be
like one of
real.
those
Like
things.
I feel like jokes you're really missing the point that probably Pokemon. Pokemon
Yeah.
is a property that I really think could get away with having its own theme park. I don't know so much about the rides, but you just
If you could make the some of the towns Like, say if you know what, perfect. If maybe every year, like I don't know how frequently they do it, they could rotate out, the OG series, you have your Johto region, your Kanto region, and maybe you can switch out like how the gyms are there. Like
I
it's
don't even
something
know
that
if
I
you
feel
need
like
to rotate that out as much as you could just be like, when you're
keep
in the
adding
park,
them.
you're walking through, and now you're in the Johto region, and now you're in the so and
Hmm.
so region, and now you're in the and you only see the Pokemon from that
Hmm.
region in that area. If people are walking around dressed as Pokemon, like you could do it, and I feel like it might be. It's easily one of the best properties for being able to pull something like that off. I think that
And
it is, from a franchise perspective, it has some of the highest amount of cachet amongst adults and children.
mhm.
It is extremely family friendly across all of it, which is very Disney. Like Dragon Ball's not actually family friendly. Like let's be just want to say it's actually not. They could have merchandise everywhere
Mhm.
in a Pokemon theme park. Imagine there's a full on standalone Pokemon theme park tied in with Pokemon Go. You can only catch certain Pokemon in certain regions,
Pokemon
or
in
they
the
have a
area,
game that's
yeah.
their own Pokemon Go just in there, like how they have certain games like that, stuff like that at certain point. Like you could do a lot. There are people who might be okay with riding no rides and just running around the park trying to catch them all, dog.
Catch
Like
them. Hey,
I'm
listen, that's
just,
valid. That's valid. And they could do, like, I mean, you said, they could do multiples. And, like, if they didn't necessarily put, like, all the regions within the one park, it's like, hey, there is a Pokemon theme park you know, in Asia somewhere. There is one in, like, Paris. There is one in the US. And maybe that's how there's different Pokemon, different things scattered throughout. Now, the chances of the average person being able to go to all of those parks is going to be, like, out, not going to
not
happen.
happening.
But
Right. I mean,
eh,
I'm just saying, like, as much as I'm not a fan of it, if I was gonna do it,
mhm,
that would
Pokemon
probably
probably
be
be
the
a
one.
safe one. We got a couple
Yeah, in terms of
ride.
doing a franchise that isn't like a, as Omega says, the Nimbus Cloud Ride could be a stand up ride. It could definitely, it could be a stand up roller coaster. You know what I
Could
mean?
be. Marcus like
Make your
make your
own
own
sand
sand
arbor
armor.
station on Planet Vegeta is crazy, Marcus. Um, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying it can't or shouldn't be done. I'm not even
Hmm.
saying that Dragon Ball doesn't deserve it. I just feel like there are franchises that seem like they're a better fit.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It just seems like maybe there would need to be more than having like a roller coaster that like the I don't know, the metal stands of the roller coaster just happen to be Goku orange.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Or something like that. Like I don't, could you build something that makes it feel like, yeah, you're walking through one of their towns, or you're, I guess. But let me ask you a question, Jokes.
Hmm.
Do they put is Mr. Popo gonna be walking around that joint? What's he
Popo
gonna
probably
look
gonna be
like?
one. He gonna probably be the one character that ain't that ain't it.
I'm just asking.
It would have to be. They probably gonna look at a redesign. Hey guys, we're gonna introduce you to the new version of Mr. Popo out here. Cause
I mean,
yeah, by
they
all
gonna make him
means,
purple. Gonna make him
and make
purple.
them purple.
And Namek, it's gonna be all hip hop music playing in that joint because they know that area is just gonna be. Will they sell Dragon Ball do rags in that joint?
Yeah, yeah.
Because again, I'm not saying Dragon Ball doesn't deserve it.
Hey, no, they just gonna
We
have a
have one of the
barber shop
greatest and
and
one of the most.
everything on Planet Namek.
They don't need no barbershops, dog. They don't have hair. It's crazy. Um, Yeah, you know what? I think I will say I think Harry Potter was a great.
Hmm.
I think that's a great answer. I definitely think that's possible because again, Wizarding World
Yeah,
is
huge.
there's a
Us.
lot of like places and towns and stuff like that that I think could really be.
Could really pan out. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, yeah, but Pokemon, bro. I, I I mean, look, you could do an expansion and make the park bigger. Like, I mean, you can do it every year, but like every couple of years, you just add in the stuff from the new games or
Mhm.
whatever. Like, you have a consistent rotation of new Pokemon to show up there and walk around. And again, you never know who's gonna be there on what day and what's gonna show up. Like, I don't know, man. I think there's some that
Potential.
might be it. But y'all think about it some more and let us know,
Mm.
in the comments, like what you think, what franchise you think would make a really good theme park or deserves one, should have one that you'd go to, not one you take your friend, one you would invite other people to go to with you. I think it's an important distinction. Jokes.
Hmm.
Before we get out of here, I have to take a moment to just say rest in peace to Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Saw that today. I mean, look, at 80 years old, the statement that was posted to her Instagram account by her grandson, I believe it is, who was like
Nephew.
acting as one of her bodyguards or something like that, or her
May have been
nephew,
a
her
nephew. May
nephew,
have been nephew.
her nephew. Um, really talked about how she's been in entertainment so steadily and for so long, and was so important that like you knew who she was and you heard about her whether you wanted to or not, whether you liked her
Hmm.
or not, whether you cared or not, whether you liked her music or didn't like her music, like you knew who she was. Movies, again, she had theme park, bro. Like that's you know what I mean. Like there's a like there's something to be said for that, and she was, I feel like, a really strong advocate
Hmm.
for a lot of people and a lot of groups. And so, especially for the kind of stuff that we do, and some of the groups and stuff that are important to us,
Hmm.
it's a severe loss um, for someone like that to be gone, and it's just unfortunate. So,
Yeah.
rest in peace to her. Much love and prayers to her family and close friends. Um, I am happy that she has a legacy that will continue to live on for much longer. So rest in peace, Dolly Parton. Now, again, put a pin in the podcast. We got to check out. We're gonna watch some of these trailers from
Hmm.
Gamescom today, the ones that we deem were good enough or necessary to watch. I want to just take the time to say right now, if you're not watching Lanterns, change your mind. Fix it. 2 episodes in, we are
Liking this. I'm
we
liking
are
this.
you should be watching Lanterns. Totally worth your time. Upcoming events. So we have our next major event is Baltimore Comic Con. Um, that is the weekend of September 25th through 27th. We will be there probably all 3 days in some fashion. There is also RisuCon happening at the same time.
Mhm.
And so we haven't figured out how we're gonna do it. We're gonna try to make it. It's only one
Yeah.
day. We may have to like miss a day of
Yeah.
Baltimore or something like that to try to make that work. We'll figure it out. But those are both things that are happening and are coming up within the next few weeks.
Hmm.
And it's gonna go real fast. So just get ready for that. Jokes, what's going on in wrestling?
A new episode of the Finisher podcast will be available tomorrow. We always hate when we have to start talking about, you know, contracts being up, stars potentially being released, not coming back to the WWE. We're starting to edge into that territory. Some stars have changed, like their X handles that no longer have WWE in the bio, and they're actually telling people to reach out for inquiries at Gmail accounts. So it looks like some contracts are coming up that are going to expire, and some stars may not be in WWE after October. So that's our big conversation piece that we have on the latest episode that will be dropping for you guys tomorrow.
Awesome. Make sure you tune into that. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Spotify, wherever your podcasts are available. So check it out. Make sure you're following the Finisher Podcast Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Some really cool and interesting reels and stuff going up there. If you're not already following us on Instagram, make sure you do that. We're experimenting with some new content. There's a new reel up about Disney princesses. You should probably go there and check that out. Depending on how that does, we'll look to maybe do some more stuff like that. There's a couple of things about Gamescom. We had the pleasure of hosting the panel for Maggie Robertson, who is Lady Dimitrescu in Resident Evil. And while there, she announced to us that she was going to be playing the character of Tasha in the new Warlock game by Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons game that's coming out, and that she was going to Gamescom. And lo and behold, today she was on this main stage. So there's a reel that's up about that, and a cool little transition from those things. Anyway, make sure you're checking those things out. Joke, is there anything else?
Nothing else I can think of right now.
That is beautiful, because that means we can wrap up the show. So what I need you to do is live your bloopers and fix it in post. With that, we're out. Tools and Lose.
Loading snacks. Everybody